This way. You want me to stay over here? Why? Is this where the trap door is? Oh. Deal's off. Okay. All right, we're good. I'm Ward Silver, N0AX, stand-up comic and occasional lecturer at Charlie Tango University here. And this is the first presentation of Introduction to Contesting. So I guess this is Introduction to Contesting, and since it's the first time. And what I'm going to talk about today is introducing people to contesting. I think pretty much all of us got introduced to one aspect of contesting or another, either at field day or somebody sort of took us under their wing or we stumbled into it, whatever. This is about being an Elmer and what it's like to start getting people into your station, how to get new contesters into the station. We need new contesters, and how do we do that? We're going to talk a little bit about the self-improvement that you guys can get out of this. It's not all just about the new contesters, it's about you two. And training opportunities. What are the training opportunities? How can you take advantage of them? How can you bring in new people? What do they want to do? We're going to talk about the station capabilities that you need to have other people help other people come into your station and learn about contesting. Then we're going to go over the techniques of training and guiding and rewarding these folks. So they want to keep coming back, so they want to do more of it themselves. And say, how do you attract your crowd? How do you get these people? You know, a lot of people are more than willing to open their station to somebody else, but how do you get them to come? And we always try to have a good time. So the goals of the session. First off, I think we got everybody in, so if somebody in the back would turn around and kind of close the door, then we can let the guys outside talk and it won't bother us. Okay, so I want to show you how you can be a contest Elmer. How does this work? Then I want to convince you to actually try it. It's one thing to sit through a lecture and kind of nod up and down a little bit, and it's another thing to actually get out of your comfort zone a little bit and give it a go. I want to give you some basic tips and ideas. All this stuff's in your book, and then I'll try to rush through this enough so that we have a little time at the end. I want to illustrate some potential successes, the low-hanging fruit, so to speak, and I want to make you laugh from time to time, but only in the right places. So, why be a contest Elmer? Ham radio is about mutual instruction, it's about self-teaching, it's about self-policing. We do this. Nobody else has giant amateur radio training schools. We have to do it ourselves. So if somebody did it for us, we should do it for somebody, pay it forward. Somebody did it for you, okay? So it's now time to push it along. And competition is a great way to produce skills. We all know that. We're all contesters, or we want to be contesters. We know that by exercising our station and ourselves, we increase our capabilities. So let's go for this competition. Let's bring in some of these new amateurs, these new contesters, and show them how to build their skills as well. And it's really important there's a basic cycle here. If you teach a skill, and then you show somebody how to have success with that skill, that will then sustain them in keeping at it. If you just tell them about the skill and then don't help them over that little initial first obstacle, it's so easy to get blocked. Ham radio is a complicated technical adventure, and it's so easy to have one tiny little thing, simple little connection or a simple little technique that blocks you from having success. And if you don't have that success, you'll find something else to do. Small anecdote, K7SS, one of the better operators that you'll ever meet. Danny, as a novice, he hooked up his rig, he called CQ. Remember the days when you had to log each CQ, whether it was, it's like a humiliation, CQX, page after page. This went on for 2 weeks, and he didn't contact anybody. He was about to pack it in, and he finally worked a very weak station. Turned out to be a lady a few blocks away. She said, you're really very weak here on 40 meters. How about if I come over and look at your station? Well, she came over and looked at stuff, and, she went through the whole thing, blah, 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 all looked fine. Said, let's look at your antenna. Well, lowered the antenna down. You know how that great drawing in the antenna book where the coax goes over the center insulator and everything? Nobody told Danny you have to strip back the coax and connect the braid and the shield to the actual dipole. So he was just whatever was leaking out the outside of the coax, that's what he was using. And until somebody came over and showed him that little obstacle, he might have walked away from ham radio forever. And it's so easy. So skill, success, sustain. You have to help people over those little tiny obstacles. Those little tiny obstacles at the beginning are so big. And if you want to learn something, let me tell you, teach it. Make friends for life. These are your buddies. They will be your buddies forever. Okay, so let's talk about self-improvement. It's not just for big guns. How do you think the big guns got to be the big guns? They served their apprenticeship at stations like W2PV and K2GL and W4GR or W3GRF and all those guys, those legendary stations. They started there. Then they went out and they started their own station, but they had to start someplace. And it can be just your high school buddies hacking around in a bedroom. But you start someplace else and you work your way up. It's not just for big stations. Stations can come in all sizes. You can have a lot of fun teaching somebody, even if all you've got is one radio and a couple of antennas. You can have just as much fun as when we go over to K3LR and use his big station. You won't work as many guys, okay, but you'll have a lot of fun. Übung macht den Meister. That's a German expression that means practice makes the master. Sort of like that wax on, wax off thing in the Karate Kid. If you practice stuff, if you train it, if you do it over and over, you'll get better and better. And so will the people that you teach. And that's what's important for them. Skill, success, sustain. And it's a self-reinforcing process. Training somebody else also makes you think about yourself. You catch yourself going, I didn't think about that. Or, gee, maybe I could do that better, or I never really thought about maybe I should do this a different way. And so you'll also get back from the students and your training exercises on your own technique as you go forward. You'll learn a ton from hosting, just a whole lot. People skills, stuff about your station, how to feed a contest crew, why not to feed them chili with beans in it, okay, things like that. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, okay? We all make mistakes. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your contest trainees are not going to come over and say, well, you don't have 3 200-foot towers with stacks up the bazoo here, so you're just not up to snuff. They're going to be delighted, and you can go ahead and try things, and if it doesn't work, be honest about it. Say, well, this didn't work so well. We're going to have to improve it for next time. And they'll probably come over and help you fix stuff. Remember the 4-part cycle of life. Here's 3. First you observe, then you judge, then you act, then you repent. Okay. That's just the way it works, okay? So, and it's the way it is for everybody. So don't think that you have to be perfect the first time out. And then there's this. I know we all learn from mistakes, but why do they always have to be mine? That's just part of the deal. Okay, so be honest with your trainees, be honest with yourself. It's a journey. Don't worry about it. Okay, training opportunities. Start small, okay? You wouldn't say to somebody who was just starting out running, say, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to enter the Boston Marathon. Nope. You don't want to take somebody out and say, well, you want to learn how to ski? Oh, here's a black double diamond. Have fun. Knock yourself out. That might be the last time you ever see them. Okay, so multi-multi and CQ Worldwide might not be a good first step for somebody who hasn't contested before. Maybe if they have a little experience, sure. But throwing somebody into the meat grinder, a 20-meter phone, and saying, I'll be back in a couple hours, see how many thousand contacts you can make. You come back, they're gone, man. They are gone. So just take a break. Just take it easy. Pick a band. Pick just an easy thing to do. Multi-single or multi-2 is a real good way to start. Multi-single, if you don't want to rewire your whole station, it's set up for single op, then do a multi-single. Have some watchers, have some doers, and work it so you can share a single radio just as time and skill permits. Multi-2 is a lot less stringent on band changes. Multi-single is so competitive now that we're all into this band change and the 10-minute limit and how many, all this kind of stuff. It's intimidating to a newcomer to have all these obscure rules dumped on them, you know. Oh, no, you can't do that. No, we can't. What? It's like, what? What are you doing? I thought we were just going to work, guys. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Okay, take it easy. Make it a simple category. Multi-2, you can have 2 guys on the radios just tuning around, searching, pouncing, okay? Take it easy. Then you don't have to worry about this band change stuff. 2 or 3 ops with 1 or 2 Elmers is a good combination. If you're not experienced about it, what you do not want to do is invite the entire Cub Scout troop and have 20 boys running around your house and getting in your station while you're trying to have one of them make his first contact. And you got 19 chaos masters loose in the house. The most, you know, you talk about this dueling CQ thing. You haven't lived until you've had 2 pairs of 9-year-olds, 2 over here, 2 over here, and a phone contest, and you have the kill switches and a double microphone and headphone master in your head, and you're trying to keep them straight on each side so when they can call. That was the hardest thing I think I've ever done in training operators. I was sweating like a pig after about an hour. They are having a great time. They were yelling and screaming and punching each other, you know, just having a great time. But take it easy, just a couple of ops, couple of Elmers, one-on-one stuff. This is not a good time to have an open house. You want to focus on the contest, okay? You have the open house or the chili cook-off some other time when it's a more of a social event. A lot of multi-ops are kind of social. It's like field day. There's clubs where 90% of it is social. But if you're going to do contest training, focus it on the contest. This is not a good time to invite the newspaper, okay? They're going to get in the way. They want to ask a lot of questions. You're trying to coach somebody through the sweepstakes exchange. They won't get it. They'll be confused. You won't be happy. Neither will they. So make it a contest thing. Here's a guy, this KD0YJN, my college buddy, finally got his license. He wanted to learn this contesting thing, so we set up a little table. You can see I've got milk crates and some stuff on there, and he is so focused on this contest. He's just bored in on this you know, it's just like one little radio and all this kind of stuff. I'm helping him through it, and he's just struggling with everything. You remember how it was, you know, you're trying to remember what the keystrokes are, you're trying to remember what the call signs are, what's the exchange, how do I do this? He had a great time, but it had to be very simple. Okay, let's create reasonable expectations. That's the thing that when you're starting out, you think, oh, we're just going to get out there and we're going to wax all those big multis, you know, maybe not on the first time, huh? Okay. My son Lowell, he got out there. He was a rookie. He was in the 10-meter contest. Maybe it's worldwide. I can't remember. They have the overlay for rookies. And he made 150 contacts. And he was delighted. And he said, am I going to win, Dad? And I said, well, let's see how Danny did over in West Seattle. Danny had 1,500 contacts and was part-time. You know, and Lowell's like, oh. I said, well, you know, there's kind of a learning curve here. You know, we're going to have to work through this. But, you know, don't tell people that they're going to just win everything right out of the gate. They're going to have to take it slow. So set your goals for long term. We're going to start out now. We're going to practice. We're going to get better and better. And then we're going to become competitive. How many operators do you have? How many Elmers do you have? How many can you reasonably accommodate within the confines of your station? If you have a small closet-sized station, maybe having a multi-multi is not a good idea. Okay, if you've got a big radio room, you can handle more. Keep the operating shifts short and frequent. It's not good for a new operator to become fatigued and frustrated. You want to give them a half an hour. You want to give them an hour, maybe, with hands-on, focused training and help, and then let them decompress and absorb what it is that they've learned. You remember that first time when you got into the contest, and it was hard work. Everything was hard work. You had to think about everything. You had to think about when to hit enter. You had to think about when to push the mic switch. You didn't have your timing right. You didn't know the call sign. You were trying to struggle with the phonetics and all this kind of stuff. So take it easy on that first one. You and the trainee, okay? Take a break yourself. It's hard work training somebody. Okay, choose the right contest. This is also important. There's a lot of really easy, smaller contests that to an experienced contester might be a little boring. State QSO parties, unless you're in that state, can be kind of a dull thing. CQP, California QSO party, is sort of an exception. Okay, but to a new contester, that's just what they need. Okay, if you take them and you dump them into the big contest, they're overwhelmed. It burns their little brain synapses out. I mean, sure, they'll learn a lot of stuff, but it's hard on them. It's not fun. Make it easy with a low rate, medium rate kind of contest. They will learn a lot quicker than you think they do. They'll pick it up. They'll also pick up every bad habit that you have. Okay, so watch out for that. Here's some really good little medium-sized contests. State QSO parties, I already mentioned. The North American QSO parties are marvelous. Name and state. That's great. Everybody knows their name and state. There's no precedence. There's no check. There's no sections. All this kind of stuff. Name and state. The worst part about the North American QSO party is making sure they use the right abbreviation for the state. You'll get people using MI for Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, and you got to keep an eye on that. So it's not totally easy, but the North American QSO parties are friendly. It's a 12-hour contest with 2 hours off for eating, and you just have a great time. ARL 10 meter, June VHF, those are all very good, easy contests to get into without overwhelming your trainees. So the idea is to make this a fun experience, not some kind of survival adventure. They say it's not a real adventure if you enjoy it while you're having it, okay? So make it an easy thing for them. Graduate. You say, look, let's practice in August. Let's do North American QSO party. And then in October, we'll do the California QSO party. And then at the end of October, we're going to jump into CQ Worldwide and sweepstakes. Yeah. Okay, but by that time, they've kind of come up to speed a little bit. They're ready to go. All right. Know your skills. Know the Elmer's skills, okay? You basically got to know what you can do. What modes can you teach? If you don't know anything about RTTY, it might not be a good idea to host a multi-op for RTTY, okay? If you're a skilled CW operator, that's what you should focus on. Or a phone operator, whatever. What modes do your invitees operate? Don't invite them over to a big CW contest if they don't know CW. That's not very helpful. They won't have a good time. They won't come back. So basically, know what they want to do and lead them in small steps. Can they operate your equipment? Let me ask that question differently. Can you operate your equipment? I often look at my radio and I go, I really don't know what that button does. And you can tell that somebody that's going to come into your station, that's the first question they're going to ask, what does this do? So you really need to know your own stuff. You need to know what the switches do. You need to know what the switches do not do. You need to label things. You need to practice. Run through things yourself. Just come in with the mind of a newcomer. What would I do if I sat down at this station? Would I know that this unlabeled switch over here with no markings on it is totally crucial for connecting the amplifier properly, and if I don't set it, I'll blow it up? That might be a good thing to work at. Do I have all of the function keys labeled properly on my software? All that kind of thing. Okay, practice and prepare to train. 1 Elmer per operator. That's the optimum ratio, the student-teacher ratio of 1. And you sit there with them off to the side. Maybe you demonstrate first, whatever. One-on-one stuff, and don't make them feel like they have to go right up to 200 an hour right off the bat. Take it easy. You can start with search and pounce. Then maybe at some point when you think they are comfortable enough with it, call CQ or you call CQ, but work them into it one-on-one, and then manage their expectations. If they think they're going to come right in and sit down and work 800 an hour, you've got to say at the beginning, we're going to take it easy. I expect you to work and then set a low bar and then let them meet that bar and then move the bar along a little bit. Drag that carrot out in front of them. Here's some more guys, okay? Now I got more guys in the shack. I got 2 stations up, and these guys are working away. There's Kirby. Now he's over at the right. He's running all by himself now, okay? He's basically Kirby. Take 40 meters. Okay, great. He's off doing that. He's not the world's fastest operator, but he's totally up to speed on North American QSO Party and sweepstakes and all that kind of stuff. And then I got 2 new guys over here. One's listening, one's operating, and they're working away. So take your opportunities, bring them along slow. Is there a contest in which your station does really well? It's hard enough to learn contesting. So it's even harder when the station doesn't play well in a certain contest. If you got dipoles at 30 feet, maybe a DX contest could be frustrating to a newcomer. It's frustrating to an old comer, for that matter. So pick one that you do really well at. If you've got small antennas that are low, domestic contests are your bread and butter for yourself and for training. What can your station hardware really do? Do you have an amp? If so, that helps. A newcomer, a lot of mistakes. They're going to be hesitant, but they'll be loud enough to be heard. They won't have to. It will be the kind of thing where if they're a little bit weak and their timing is off, that can be a disaster for a small station. But it's okay for a bigger station, and people will hear you and pull you through. Is your station a running station, or is it a search and pouncer station? Okay, be honest with yourself. We all like to think we're a running station, okay, but are we really runners or search and pouncers? If you're a search and pouncer, then teach your trainees how to search and pounce. You're probably skilled at that. You know how to operate the station. You can show them some tips and tricks. Don't start them on paper logging unless it's absolutely necessary. All you're doing is crippling them from being successful farther on down the line. Yeah. If you're running, you're CQing. You're CQing, and if you're search and pouncing, you're tuning. If you're a tuner, teach them how to work guys and tune, okay? And be good at it. And if you're a CQer, you can show them how to do that. Yeah. How do you handle deer in the headlights? What happens, when, all they've ever done, perhaps, if you're a new contester, is one time, one-on-one, and then they call CQ and there's a pileup of 10 people. Well, there's not a whole lot you can do, except you can be right there with them, and maybe they operate and you log or something like that. Cut down the number of things that they have to do. And then maybe you type the call sign into the call window for them that you hear, and you say, that guy's in there, or ask, who's the Delta, that kind of thing. Give them these little cues and help, and that will help get through it. And if it's just too much for them, say, it's too much. Why don't we back off? Let's recalibrate here. And if you've got a famous call or something like that, that may not be the best starting out kind of thing either. Use, my novice call, N0AX. How I became a CW guy with that call, I don't know. But, use a boring call so you don't attract a whole lot of attention. There was a lot of that in the Centennial, for example. New guys got on 40 meters with their dipole, loaded up to about 300 or 400 watts, called CQ a W1AW portable something, and then whammo. And then you'd hear them. It was painful to listen to, guys calling, and minutes would go by, and finally they'd go, who's the W? And then it would start again, and then maybe another couple of minutes later, they'd work one guy, and it'd take 2 minutes, and it was kind of hard. So you have to manage those expectations and try to look for danger ahead. Okay. What can your antenna farm do? This is another thing. I published some maps in the sweepstakes results article. They said, man, you can have such a good time with low dipoles in sweepstakes or domestic contests. It's easy. Pick that low-hanging fruit. What is your antenna farm good at? Are you on the side of a hill looking south? Okay, get on 15-meter phone and work the South Americans in a DX contest, okay, that kind of thing. If you have an advantageous location or antenna setup, use it. And what small improvements? This is something for like the hot wash after the contest. What small improvements in your station would make a big difference? What did you notice that your trainees had a lot of problems with? Was the monitor too small? Was the monitor in the wrong place? Couldn't they use the headphones improperly? Did they not like the microphone? What was the deal? Were they confused about your antenna switching? Take notes, and if you can figure it out to make it easier for them, you make it easier for you too. And that's really important at the middle of the night on Saturday night when your biorhythms are low and you're tired, and you make it as easy as possible. You'll keep going and you'll make more contacts yourself. These are the most important things to work on for improvements. Operator, 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 operator. Train yourself, train your trainees to be effective, efficient, alert, engaged. You'll get way more out of that than you will by buying stuff. Although Timmy doesn't want to hear that. Okay. It makes you feel good to buy stuff, but really the 25-watt glucose-driven machine in here is what makes all the difference. That and your rear end. If you got to keep your rear end in the chair. Technique, okay, work on your technique, practice things. If you listen to somebody like Jeff Steinman, N5TJ, and I talked to Jeff, I said, Jeff, what's a secret? He says, there are no secrets. He says, just practice. And K1AR, you listen to him run, there's no wasted effort. It's like watching a long-distance runner. They pick their feet up off the ground exactly the amount that they need to pick those feet up and no more. And then they put it back down. They were just gliding through. It's smooth, they breathe, they have a rhythm, they're not sweating. That's what you do. Technique is second. Antennas the best buck in ham radio, bang for the buck. You can put up another dipole. You can put up a fixed beam to point at the Caribbean just for the weekend. Funny how those temporary antennas, you know what temporary means, don't you? It means until I die. Honey, I'm going to run this across the driveway. It's just temporary. Yeah, right. Your grandchildren will dig it up and wonder what it is. Okay, radios and amplifiers. Everything that's out there now that works is pretty darn good, okay? You'll feel better if you buy the new XYZ 14,000 that comes with divorce papers right in the box, okay? It'll make you feel better, okay? But it's up here. It's all up here. And then the gadgets, okay? The optional gadgets. You can spend $100, $150, something like that. Typically, the gadgets really don't make that much of a difference. If they did, they'd be built into the software. They'd be built into the radio. But you need to customize your station, look at what you're trying to do, and yeah, you'll find some gadgets. All right, prepare. No plan survives contact with the enemy, or as Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Right. Just be ready, know what you're going to do, communicate that to your trainees. Do a dry run before Friday afternoon. This is why Tom, N1MM, disconnects his phone on Fridays before contests. Okay, everybody waits until like half an hour before the contest. Says, oh, I guess I ought to upgrade my software. Yeah, oh, that'd be good. Hey, it doesn't work. What's the deal here? Okay, update your logging software like a week in advance. Check all the gear at full power. Does it actually work where you got it labeled as setting? Label. Okay, it's so easy for a trainee to get totally confused. You may happen to know that the paper label on your antenna switch has been wrong for 20 years, and where it says 20, it's really 40, okay? But they don't, okay? So go through, take this as an opportunity to set up your station, clean it up. If somebody cold walked in and had to set this station up, could they do it? And it also protects your equipment. A trainee, if they don't know what they're doing, they might set something improperly and blow something up. And then everybody feels bad So cut the chances of that as much as possible. If you've got an expensive piece of equipment, just let them know. I'll take care of it. You don't touch it. Just call me when you want to change bands or, whatever. Okay. Support accessories. Have headphone splitters out there so you can listen. Have maybe a kill switch or the push-to-talk switch is in your hands, not theirs. Okay? Make sure that these keying and the microphone accessories and all that kind of stuff, make it easy for them. Don't have anything that's got funky connections or has to be held just a certain way, all that kind of stuff. Fix all that kind of gadgetry up. Make it easy for you to train them. Little accessories for that. And have the station ready when the first op arrives. I went over to K9SD one time. Sam had gotten hit by lightning or something. I was going to do a sprint. He says, "Oh, yeah, it'll all be ready." So I go over there. I go downstairs. Kathy says, "Yeah, he's in the basement." And so I go down there. All I see is Sam's rear end and a big batch of plumber's crack. And he's under there pulling stuff out, swearing a blue streak. And he says, "Here, take this." He hands me a big blue Array Solutions box. Says, "Write bad on it." So I'm going, well, this might not work, but yeah, you got it all pieced back together. But try to have the station ready when the first op arrives. So you're gonna lead them in, you're gonna set them down. It builds confidence. You're ready, they're ready, and you're not rebuilding the station. My downfall is I want to rewire the station on Friday because the adrenaline's just going, and so I vacuum instead. That burns it off. It's harmless. Prepare your operators. Hey, have the contest rules available. What is this 10-minute rule business? Have it available so they can read it and check it out. Explain what the contest is about. Give them an overview. Here's the point. We're going to contact all the states on all the different bands. It's very simple. You're going to exchange a name and state. They're going to give you a name and state. That's it. And they'll go, "That's it?" I said, "That's it. That's it." We just practice our call signs. We're going to practice the phonetics. They're going to be a little nervous. Make it easy for them. It's like dating, okay? You want to just be there. You want to be comforting. You don't want to be challenging. Get them ready to go. Demonstrate the basic operation. Have checklists, okay? Checklists are really good. And big labels. Temporary, those plastic notes with a big arrow says, here's the antenna switch, that kind of thing. Okay? Don't think that you have to start at 0, 0, 0, 0 just because the adrenaline's pumping. Okay, that's what we all generally do. Take a break. Listen for a while. Say, "Have you ever done this contest before?" "No." "Okay, why don't we listen? Let's get the hang of it. Let's listen to this big station running guys." And then you have a dialogue. You've got an operator to Elmer dialogue going so you can explain, and why did he say this? "Oh, well, that's a that. And this is why this happens." Okay? You don't have to explain it later. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. They may have never heard QRM before, and certainly not like they're going to hear in a contest. If they're casual repeater operators or just rag chew operators through the week, and suddenly whammo, they're in a big contest. That's why I wrote that article about SSB after watching Kirby and his friends come into my station and try to tune in a single sideband signal. They didn't understand what it was that they were looking for. They had never tuned anything in before. They just selected a channel and it was right there. People don't tune anything anymore. When's the last time you tuned a car radio? Yeah, it's when you took the 58 Buick out, and you tuned it. But, nobody tunes anything anymore. It's just, you just got a box that noise comes out of. Yeah, you're next. Yeah? Oh, about SSB, January 2016 QST. Yeah. The concept of tune is gone. Nobody, we are the only ones, the only communication service that has continuous tuning. We're it. We are the last ones. Now that's a plus and a minus, but you got to be aware that that's the deal. Okay. Demonstrate the basic operations, walk through the band switching, antenna pointing, show them how to operate the rotator. Remind them that they have to turn the brake off first. That's always good. You say, oh, it's not tuning. And I said, well, I'm pushing the button, and you're going, oh, I'm going to have to be replacing that rotator. Okay, if anything is off limits, now is the time to say so. So you don't come in at 10:30 after dinner and somebody's playing with the new amplifier, and you're like, okay. Encourage questions. Lots and lots and lots of questions. What does this do? Why do you not want me to do that? Why did they say this? When should I go? All this kind of stuff. Hands-on assistance, one-on-one elmering is the best. We already talked about that. Let them listen first until they get the hang of it. Hey, they're already impressed. You don't have to, jazz it up. No, church it up. They're already ready to go. They are out of their comfort zone big time. Questions. I keep coming back to them. Ask questions. Do you know what he's going to say? What do you think he's going to say when you call him? And then they can ask you as well. Walk them through. New ops will need a cheat sheet. I think we've always been there on field day and other things. Sweepstakes in particular, you have all the steps in, and you're like Mitch Miller, with the this, then this, then this, then this, and it so helps them out. Don't let them say, please copy. Okay, every time they say please copy, give them a shock. Okay, it's just like I couldn't get one guy to stop saying it. So before his next shift, I said, "Nope, don't grab the microphone yet. I want you to say please copy 300 times." And he says, "Why?" I said, "That's what you're going to do in the contest. Let's get it out of the way now." And so he said, please copy, please copy, please. And after about 10, he goes, "Okay, I get it." And then I'd catch him going, please. And then he'd stop. And by the end of the day, he had excised that bad habit. Okay? And this thank you, and then you're calling CQ and somebody calls you and you say, that call sign, go ahead. No. That's not the way it works. So just help them have a cue sheet with a stick, a little thing that you're guiding through. Just solve so many problems, makes them feel so much more comfortable. Have them breathe. At the beginning of the sweepstakes exchange in particular, have them, before they start talking, N0AX W1AW number 1234, Alpha, 1993, Connecticut. If you breathe, you establish a rhythm, and it's a calming thing. That all of us can attest to that. You've heard this, the operators on the air, they come back, and they start, and they go, have people breathe. That's part of the rhythm. Inhale, give the exchange, exhale. Very important. And be able to listen as they operate so you can explain to them either by writing on a whiteboard or a piece of paper or pointing at things, and just guide them through it. Make it easy for them. Here's the new guy. Here's Brandon. He'd never heard a contest before. Hey, look who's elmering him. Kirby. Kirby's gone from sweat stains down to his belt, okay, to being able to run 40 meters all by himself, and now he's training Brandon, okay? So this is a big success story, and it's a big reward. Kirby feels great because he's teaching a new guy. The new guy feels great because he's learning. It's all about peers. Okay, the first solo flight. You remember your first solo flight on field day when the 75-meter operator, you've been logging him for a while, and he gets up and takes a big drag on the cigar. He says, I got to go to the bathroom. You take it for a little while. You're like, what? And he says, okay, you're in there. Okay, and then he never comes back. Okay, and that's how you get your first hour or two at field day. Be the judge of when they're ready. Don't dump them right in. Don't throw them into the blender right off the bat, okay? And you can kind of get a hang for it. When they are doing the give and take about right, you can judge that. Have those cues. Maybe you log while they operate. That helps a lot. Just reduce the number of variables they have to deal with. don't yell at them, okay? You know, my dad took me out for driver's ed, and it was mainly an exercise of me trying to keep from being yelled at, okay? You know how it is when you're trying to teach your kid how to drive. It's like, I'm going to die. So this is not driver's ed. Take it easy. Hand signals, visual cue, use all your fingers, okay? This is good. Point. Be gentle. And make the first solo a short one. Say, look, why don't we just do this for 15 minutes? And if you want to do it farther than that, fine. But let's just do 15 minutes. Let's just take 15 minutes. It's like an eternity the first time you do it, okay? So take it easy. You might want to have some deodorant handy, you know. People are going to panic, but be kind, okay? And here's another newbie, okay? Calling CQ on 40 meters, first time ever. This was like so serious. It's like I handed him the nuclear launch codes, you know. He's like, I'm going to screw this up. I said, no, you're not going to screw it up. It's going to be good. You just call CQ. We've got a loud signal right now into the East Coast. Guys will come back 2 or 3. I'm going to keep an ear on you. You'll be fine. Okay. And off he was. His rate sucked. He was fine. He was happy. He's much better now. You know, but that first time, just take it easy. Appreciate their success. You know, just because they didn't win doesn't mean anything, okay? Hey, they worked almost all the states in a few hours. They probably never did that in their whole life. We worked DXCC this weekend. Look at this, 100 countries. Okay, one-on-one review, that's very important. After they get done, what did you like? What did you not like? What did you not understand? What helps? What hurts? You know, whatever. Tell them what they did right. You got really good at responding. You got really good at following the cue cards. You copied a whole bunch of stuff really well. I noticed your error rate went down as we went along. Maybe some general critiques. Don't say, please copy, okay? You're not saying, you're not being distinct with your phonetics. You have to talk like this because they cannot see you, okay? Everything is just coming through the ears. Next time, why don't we work on this? Why don't we work on that? When you're at home this week, why don't you try this before the next contest? And it's okay to take a break. Operate for 4 hours, and everybody's kind of got the Tweety birds going around their head. Take a break. Back off. Give everybody a chance to relax. Or you operate for a while, and they listen. Keep some stats. Tim Duffy's one of his most important motivational tools is you get there on Friday, and he's got this giant chart. It's as big as this slide, and it shows all of the numbers, all the QSO totals and the scores and the solar flux and charts and graphs and everything. And it shows you how you're doing, where we were last time. Did we do better? Did we do worse? How did we do compared to the competition? Did we get close to a maximum number? Is this the minimum number? Oh, minimum numbers. You talk about motivation. N0AX and what's Ed's call? Greg, I can't remember, VE3 something. Anyway, spent the whole weekend at Tim's on 10 meters. The entire weekend was 7 over 7 over 7 over 7. And they made 13 contacts on 10 meters at the bottom of the cycle. Now that's motivation. Keep some stats. Guys, you got nowhere to go but up from here, okay? They worked 2 in 1 minute, and it was the run of the weekend. Then you submit the score right away. Don't say, well, I'll look through the log this week and see what I can. No, you get right on the website, and you upload that log right on the spot. Maybe there's some things that you noted during the contest. That's fine. You fix it. You get them thinking, the contest is from here to here, and then I send in my log. Build in a good habit early. Show them how to post a score on 3830scores.com. That is the soapbox place now. Soapbox on ARL site is depopulated because everybody goes to 3830 right off the bat, post their score, post their comments, and they're good with it. Get out there. Show them. Put their name down there. All that kind of stuff. And then keep sending them links to the contest summary over the next few days. See how we did? Well, we were in the first 5 minutes, so we were number 1 for about an hour, and then W3LPL posted. But, you know, and say, hey, we're still in the top 20, you know, that kind of thing. And that's great for them. That's exciting. What worked? Ask them what worked and what didn't. After they've had a day or two to think about it, have a detailed question and answer. Maybe you all go out for, post-contest coffee. Drop them a thank you note or a small certificate of appreciation. If you win a certificate, make sure everybody gets a copy. Be proud of the results. Our team came in 18th place in Multi-2 and NAQP, and they were delighted. It's like, to me, it's like, well, whatever. But they were delighted. They had a great time. They wanted to come back, and then we got 6th. 6th, my gosh. They were just totally excited. Keep the team updated, exchange posts with other teams. This is a great thing for a club if you've got a lot of members. Have 2 or 3 stations doing this during a contest, and so you have Team A and Team B and Team C, and make sure there's some trash talk before the contest, and then you compare with the other teams. Distribute, make sure they get a copy of the results and the write-ups and everything you can think of. The stuff you and I look at and you're going to go, okay, well, fine, I've seen it all before. They have not. Okay, this is part of what the game is, pure recognition. So recognize those peers. Make sure everybody gets credit and talk it up at the meetings. Boy, we had a great time. Everybody came over, put it on social media for the club site, all this kind of stuff. That's where people are. Okay, pictures, snaps, movies, stills, results, text, everything. Have fun. Best have them say, I went over to this guy's house. We had a great time. I'm going back next week. Okay, now, how do you get these people? Remember how badly you wanted to be part of a team when you were just starting out and you didn't know anybody and you were kind of sitting at the back of the club meeting and, boy, it'd sure be great to go over there, but I don't know that guy very well. I don't know anything. He won't want me on the team. Go out and invite him. Look at him. Go up, walk up to him, say, hey, I saw you on the air the other day. We're putting a multi together. Why don't you come over? And they'll say, okay, great. And then make sure that they do. Make sure they feel welcome. Go out and get them. Look for those who might want to play, but they're kind of holding back. We're all a little tentative at the beginning. You are the experienced, wise elder of the tribe. Go over and get them. Invite them. Make them feel part of the deal. Look at the regional results, and you see a new call sign. Who's that? Who's that? They made a pretty good score there. I'll give them a call. Invite them to a club meeting. Bring them in. Extend the invitation. You're the one in control here. You're the one with the authority and the station and the resources. Extend them to others. And encourage your ops to bring more ops. It's like that's how I got Brandon. Okay? Brian came over. He says, oh, yeah, there's this guy. He lives just down the road from you, and he's just a new ham, and he's from Texas. He's a software guy. How about if I bring him over? I said, sure, bring him over. And now Brandon's like, wants to come over and do IARU and all this kind of stuff. Life is good. The more fun you sound like you're having, the more fun you probably will have. There's an old Will Rogers says, the more anything don't look like advertising, the better advertising it is, okay? That's exactly right. Have fun. Let everybody else know you're having fun. And encourage others to host, your peers. Say, listen, I had these guys over at my shack last week. They had a blast. We only made about 200 or 300 contacts, but we had a lot of fun. You should try it. How about if you get some of them and I get some of them? And that's how it starts. Challenges, club to club, MCOM teams. Get your MCOM team over for a VHF contest. Find one of the FM Simplex contests that's going on in your area and show them how to participate and drive to high spots and operate and have a good time. And make sure you include your contact information. I've seen a lot of people post, hey, I'd love to host some operators over at my station, and they sign their name and their call sign, but there's no way for anybody to actually contact them, Put you on your email address or your phone number, or, you should call me here. Make it easy to click. Think about it. It's like an ad, okay? What you're trying to do is sell your station, okay? Have a good time. Make sure it's a good time for you and your family and the operators, and everybody has fun. It shouldn't be a hassle for anybody. And as the success builds, so will your team. And the contest food will get better, okay? It will. Raise your goal. If you made 18th this time, say, hey, I think we can make 12th. Okay, let's go for 12. Let's see if we can have the top score in our section. Okay, let's see if we can get a certificate. And then just keep moving that carrot a little bit and enjoy your successes. And then maybe you look at yourself and say, well, if we're going to win in the section, I'm going to have a better antenna on 40 meters than I did this time. I think I'll put up, an extended double tap or something like that. Give your team more responsibilities. When they come in, say, you did pretty well last time. I'm just going to give you an hour on 20 meters. Get over there, and here's your job. Here's our calendar. I've put you here. And let them go. Okay. And then get in there and give it a try. Encourage your ops to try it on their own. Once they've done it at your station, they should be going, that guy's not really too bright. I could probably do this on my own. So, hey, encourage them to go out. Say, look, why not you go out and do single op? I think you could do single band. Why don't you put up a couple of dipoles and do single band 20 or single band 15? Or maybe they can't come for the whole weekend, so you say, why don't you go off and do just part-time, something like that. Encourage them to get up and going, and you're paying it forward. This will just produce results after results, more enthusiasm in the club or the group, more people on the air, more contacts. It benefits you, but it benefits the whole hobby. So who's going to do it if we don't do it? Okay, we all talk about, well, I want the amateur service. I wish amateur radio, blah, blah, blah. Well, then, damn it, do it, okay? Go out, put your station out there, show somebody how to be the ham you want to, and have fun. Here's a couple of guys in their 20s. They can't operate CWFR crap, but they're getting a lot better real quick. Both of them are starting to be good contesters. One of them got married, so he's out for a while. But no, actually, Justin is sneaking up, and she's going to get her ham license and surprise Sterling, so that'll be fun. And she's more competitive than he is, so he may be fighting for radio time before too long. These guys are having a great time. Okay, this is what you get out of it, okay? So today, I hope what we've done is we've just talked about some goals, giving you some ideas, so you guys were all thinking, I could do this, and it's not that hard. I think I could pull this off. So that's what I want you to go home with. You've got your books with all the stuff. We'll be talking about all these different things through Contest University. Spread the word, spread the wealth, share the fun. Thank you very much. I'm open for questions. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. When they go home and they try it out and they make 3 or 4 contacts and you say, how'd you do? Oh, I tuned around for a while. I said, send in the log. Send in the log. We're done, Tim. We're ready to go. Okay. Right. Tim says 5 minutes. Start thinking up some questions, everybody. Okay. Yeah.
Some years ago, for either Father's Day or Father's Day or for my birthday, I requested that my wife and my 2 sons who are licensed operate a contest with me, but just for 1 hour.
Are you still married?
Yeah. But we had all the typical problems that you mentioned, but we were the only multi-single station in the Los Angeles section, and we won first place. So it can be done.
Isn't that great? Now, they might not want to do it again, but they had a good time. Ellen and I go out and do the Missouri QSO party, and she loves to drive and go strange places. She's got her call sign. She knows what's going on, but she'll put her butt in the driver's chair and drive and drive. We'll do 1,000 miles. We're having a great time. And then one time, I put the audio into the car stereo so we can both enjoy it. And and I'd done a run of about 40 minutes on CW, and I stopped. The band we quit. And she said, I hear it. And I said, well, hear what? She said, the ghost code that you're always talking about. I can hear it, in my. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. There was another question. Yes, ma'am. Did you have a question?
Last year, quite by accident, my husband and I ran a long time off place with a machine for a salt party, and we wound up placing first for Michigan for the that. And I really enjoyed it. And we did it again this year, and I think after like 3 weeks, somebody turned in a log and blew us out of the water. We more than double our contacts from the previous year. One of the things that I came in here expecting was to figure out whatever. And what I really learned is the things that I need to take back to him to tell him why I don't contest with him.
Yeah.
Understand this stuff, and it's not labeled, it's not. So there are things that he went through that really gonna help me.
Honey, every time you say please copy, you're spending a night on the couch. That's right. Yeah. Now, there was a question in the back, and then I'll get back to you. Yeah. Yes, you.
So we gave an intro. I'm looking for an intro. I'm a software defined hacking guy, just trying to get this game world. And I Googled what an Elmer was. I'm trying to figure out what contesting is. Any pointers for just basic? There's assumed terminology.
Well, let's see. There's this book called Ham Radio for Dummies that I wrote, and that's in there. The operating manual will help, but those are just books. YouTube videos are legendary. The best thing you can do is go find a local contester or a contest club and say what you said to me. How do I do it? Yeah, back in the back, and then.
I had trouble entering the log, middle log. I would get lost. Why am I getting lost?
Well, you could be saving and not sending them to the right place. But the thing is, make sure you've got the right email. You should get a response from the sponsor right away. If you don't get a response from the sponsor, email the sponsor through another email address and say, hey, I sent in a log, I didn't get a confirmation. You could be just missing some step. A lot of contests are going to a web upload page now, and that's much better because right on the spot it says, I got your log. Yeah, right. Yes.
The issue of tuning in a single sideband station is really maybe underrated. My son, in this event that we operate, it was tuned into my ear, but he could not hear it. So maybe contesting is not the place, or maybe just listening and only certain towns. That's very difficult for a non-Icom.
The About SSB article that I wrote, we did a short YouTube video. It's on the ARL digital site that shows what you're listening to explain people what they're doing. And so look at that, show that to the new guys, and have them practice maybe offline. And then when they get the hang of it, then they're ready. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. You can tell there's a sixth sense that an experienced contester gets when somebody calls in, particularly on phone, and they're tentative. They're like, well, what do you need? Or, gee, you got a nice signal or something. Don't just blow them away. It's like, say, hey, this is the sweepstakes. Have you ever operated before? Can I help you through this contact? And sure, maybe you're losing a couple of contacts, but you'll get it back. Yeah, know your audience.